today I'm really excited to film this video for you guys in particular because I've had a lot of people ask me questions about this topic, and so I'm finally going to answer them in this video for you guys. And if you couldn't tell by the title, this video is going to be all about what brushes I use to apply eyeshadow, some of my favorite eyeshadow colors, and like my go-to palette, and also how I use my favorite brushes to achieve really blended, effortless, easy looks. So I really hope you guys enjoy this video. The first brush that I use when I'm starting to do my eyeshadow is this brush, and it's by e.l.f. It is the Flawless Concealer Brush. And basically what I use this brush for is to set whatever liquid base I put on my eyelid. So what I mean by that is when I'm starting any eyeshadow look at all, I usually go in with some sort of base. So that can be like a tacky concealer or an eyeshadow primer. I usually use a concealer that's my skin tone or about 2 to 3 shades lighter than my skin tone. And basically what that does is it cancels out any kind of discoloration on your eyelid and gives whatever eyeshadow you're applying, it gives it a very smooth base, so that all of the colors you put on show up to their fullest capacity. So after I apply that nice tacky concealer to even out my eyelid, I go in with this brush and an eyeshadow that matches the color of that concealer, and I just use that to go ahead and set my eyelid. The next brush that I use is probably one of my favorite eye brushes that I think I've ever owned in my entire life, and that is going to be the Morphe M441. I love this brush for applying any kind of transition colors. A transition color is usually something that's close to your skin tone, and it basically just is going to make sure that the transition between whatever eyeshadows you apply is very seamless and effortless. This is very key in making sure that your eyeshadow doesn't look choppy and blended. And later on in the video, I'll show you some of my favorite transition colors for my skin tone and recommend some maybe other transition colors for some different complexions. This brush also works really, really well if you want to actually blend out any harsh lines or weird lines in your shadow. After you finish, I kind of sometimes just go over my shadow with this brush and just blend over any lines that look weird or harsh. The next brush that I use is also by Morphe, and it is the M433 brush. I love this brush, again, just as much as I love the M441. It's very similar to the M441, except it's much shorter, but it's just as fluffy. And basically I use this brush to pack on color into my crease and kind of define and blend. And it blends while it applies color, so that's why I really like it. When I want a more specific application of color into my crease, I go in with the C433 Pro Blending Brush. This is a crown brush and they're available online. And basically I go in with this brush again when I just want to define or add color in a very specific part of my crease or my eye. So I kind of go in with this right in the lower part of my crease, and this really helps to just pack on a little bit of color there, and then I can go out and blend it later with another blending brush. Another brush that I use for blending is the M330. This is another brush, again by Morphe. I use this brush to just go and do a little bit more of a precision blend. If you remember the M433 brush that I showed you guys earlier, that one can be a little large sometimes to get into those smaller areas, and since this one is tapered, it really can fit into the eye and just blend out the color that the color that I'm applying it to blend, and then it can also blend out just a small portion of the surrounding areas. So I use this brush for a little bit more of a precision blend, and I find that it works really, really well for that. It's one of my favorite brushes, and I would say that if you have smaller eyes, that maybe you would want to go for this brush over the M433 because this will give you a little bit more of a precise application. The final brush that I use to blend out my eyeshadows is the Morphe M562 brush. I love this brush. You guys can see it's super, super tiny. It's like very tapered and pointy, and this is like, it literally, it's kind of like the final touches. So anytime I do my eye makeup, once I finish whatever look that is I'm doing, I use those other brushes. I go back in to my eyeshadow and I look to make sure that there aren't any harsh lines in any areas. And in order to avoid mixing the colors up too much with the larger blending brushes, to avoid getting a muddy look, I just go in with this brush because it's so small, and I just go and blend out the tiniest areas that might have a harsh line here or there, and it just cleans up anything and just really gives me that final touch. So if you're really looking for a blending brush, I would definitely recommend this one. If you have smaller eyes, larger eyes, I recommend this brush for anyone because it works perfectly for that. I'm going to talk to you guys about some of my favorite eyeshadow palettes. These are the ones that I started out with when I first started wearing makeup. What you want to look for when you're purchasing a palette, especially if you're a beginner, is if it's a complete palette. To me, a complete palette is something that comes with that color I was originally talking about, the one that you can use to set whatever base you put on your eye, so something that matches your concealer or your skin tone. It comes with a nice transition shade, so something that maybe is a little bit darker or a little bit, closer to your skin tone, that you can use to make sure that the other colors blend out. You want to have a nice lid color, you want to have an effective color that you can use to deepen the crease, and you want to have a nice highlight that you can use on your brow bone. So the first palette is the Lorac Pro palette. This is the first one. They have 3 now, I believe, but this is the first one, and I'll go ahead and show it to you. It looks like this. So you can see that the top row of the palette is all matte colors, and then the bottom row of the palette is all shimmer colors. What I love about the Lorac Pro palette is that it has, again, that nice range of colors. So it has warm tone highlights, neutral highlights, cool highlights, warm lid colors, cool lid colors, neutral lid colors, and a nice set of crease colors for everyone to use. And what I mean by that is warm usually leans more towards like an olivey or yellow undertone. Pink, it looks a little bit more pinkish. And of course neutral is a balance between the two. You have like a nice pinkish highlights. This one's a little bit more pinkish as well, but this one's like kind of neutral. You have some crease colors or some transition colors over here, and then you have some crease colors, and then the bottom row, it's the same thing basically, except these colors are like shimmery versions of the colors on top of that. Next one that I want to talk to you guys about is the Kat Von D Shade and Light Eye Palette. I'll go ahead and show it to you. So this definitely has a complete palette in my opinion. You have these neutral colors right here. This quad of colors is neutral. This quad of colors is cool toned, and then this quad of colors is the warm tone. All of the colors listed on the back. And like I said, it's just a complete palette. It has a bunch of colors. I love using this chocolate brown. I love using this peachy color as a base on top of my concealer that I was talking about earlier. And I love using this brown in the crease, and then this works perfectly as a highlight. The next palette that I have here is the Morphe 350. This is the matte version, so all of the colors in here once again are matte. It really has every color that you would need to have a really, complete, well blended eyeshadow look. It has my favorite transition color, which is this one right here. It's a very warm tone color, so it's close to my skin tone, and it's warm, and it just helps any color that I apply blend in almost effortlessly. I also like this color right here. Maybe if I'm not doing as warm toned of an eye look, and maybe the eye look is a little bit more neutral or even cool tone, I'll go in with this one. And it has some really nice highlight colors, especially for my skin tone. This one right here, if I'm going for a warmer look, and then this one down here if the look is a little bit more pink or cool toned. Yeah, this is a complete palette. You have deeper brown colors that you can use in the crease towards the bottom. You have tons of like transition colors over here, highlight colors. They are all matte shadows, so if you don't like that, again, maybe you go for the original 350. But this palette is definitely complete. This is probably my favorite palette that I own. From here, it's all about just kind of experimenting and deciding what works best for your eye shape, what kind of eyeshadow looks you should go for. It's all trial and error. It's definitely something I had to go through, but hopefully if you guys watch my tutorials, you guys will get a better idea of maybe what would work best for you. So that's all. I really hope that you guys again enjoyed this video. Please like the video, comment if you have any questions. I will put my Twitter and Instagram down below so you guys can follow me. You can ask me questions on there. Please go ahead and like and subscribe if you haven't already, and definitely stay tuned for my next video. I'll probably be doing a video on some of my favorite foundations and some of my favorite brushes to apply those. So if you guys are interested in that, let me know, but I'll probably film that next. So guys, stay tuned, and thank you so much for watching. Hope you guys have a great day. Bye-bye.